Hello everyone, this is my take on which browser should you use. So today we're going to be testing 4 different browsers. We're going to be testing Firefox, the new version, Firefox Quantum, Opera, Google Chrome, and Vivaldi, which is Opera and Vivaldi are much lesser known than Firefox and Chrome, but there are a few advantages to them that none of the other two have, which is why I'm reviewing them today. So, let's start with Chrome, the basic browser. Obviously, like it or not, Google is one of the largest internet companies in the world, so you're going to be using a lot of Google products. At least I do. So, Google Chrome is obviously very optimized for this type of thing. You can search anything really quickly. Hello, this is a test. And it comes up really quickly. It's very responsive, although if we do go to Task Manager, especially once it's running, a lot of tabs, especially when they're all loaded up. It might not show up here because I don't have them all loaded up, but when it's running a lot of tasks, you can see, even with just a bunch of new tabs, it's using almost 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is insane. So it is very RAM hungry. So yeah, that's Chrome. It's pretty quick though, and that I think is why most people use it. Also, just because, like I said earlier, the Google ecosystem is so strong, and with a browser built for it, it seems like the obvious choice. So then we've got Firefox Quantum. Firefox Quantum is another really good option, especially with the new version coming out that is so much faster than the previous versions of Firefox. It's much smoother now, feels a lot more like Chrome, and yeah, as you can see, it also loads really quite quickly, even on DuckDuckGo. If we go to google.com, again, loads almost exactly the same. So it really is just personal preference. There are a few more customization options here. Let's say if we go to customize, you can see we can kind of mess around with stuff up in the search bar here. You can make this bigger or smaller based on the amount of space you got. You've got just separation space here, zoom controls, edit controls, emailing, forgetting, history, stuff like that. You also have your toolbars. You've got your themes built in, which have just like the hover over. You've got density between compact, normal, and touch, which is more optimized for a touchscreen display. And then you got a restore defaults button right here. So yeah, that's basically the overview. I'll go into more detail later with like the benchmark scores and stuff, but obviously that's not a perfect representation of real world usage. All right, so then we have Opera. Opera is very cool, in my opinion. It's got a lot of different features over here. It's got a really interesting taskbar that the only other browser I've seen on is Vivaldi, which I'll go over in a second. They're actually made by the same company type thing. So you've got your thing over here. You've got menu, new tab, new window, new private window. You can read through all this, pause the video if you'd like. But you've got built-in zoom, find, snapshot, and you also got this really interesting thing. Or you've also got a built-in VPN to the private, and you don't have a a great selection, but yeah, optimal location. Just a really basic VPN, but it is free, so that's helpful. The snapshot feature is a lot better than just the basic snipping tool that comes with Windows, which works too, but this doesn't artifact it as hard as snipping tool does. So you can use this here. You can also just capture the full screen, like so. And from here, you can save the image, or you can copy and close it. You can also add emoji for some reason that I have yet to figure out. That's an option. got arrows. So there's definitely a lot of options, I guess, with this built-in screenshot manager type thing. Got a blur effect. So let's say you want to hide some private information, you can definitely do that with the blur effect. And all of it just controls the oval. You got a pencil, just gonna draw all over it. So it really does, it's just a better snipping tool that's built in, which I think is really cool, and I use it a lot. There's also your bookmarks. There's also a personal news service, which I actually don't have set up to anything right now, but you can add sources based on what you want, or based on what you like. You've got your history, you've got extensions. So I don't actually use, I downloaded this a while ago. But you've got, okay. But you've got, you know, your extensions, you've got, you can search extensions, whatever you want, like add, block. But yeah, so just basic extensions, just like Chrome or any other browser does. You've got your download history, and then you've got your settings, which is basically the same as Chrome. Actually, it is Chrome. So this is also interesting. Opera was made originally using a different kernel, but this newer version is actually based on the Chromium kernel, which is why everything looks really, really similar to Chrome. Even the inspect element section, if we go to, yeah, here. Even inspect element is basically exactly the same. There's also a few gestures that you should know. So you've got right click, hold right click, and swipe right. That brings up your back. Hold right click and swipe left, or rather, not my bad. So hold, let's go to google.com. So right click and swipe left to go back. And let's say I want to go to, I don't know, Internet Archive. And then I went to contact, and then I went back. It's a little finicky, but sometimes it works for me the other way. It brings you back forward. And then also, if you drag down, it opens a new tab, which is pretty helpful. The themes for this are right here, as you can see, with wallpapers as well. Got a light theme and a dark theme. More of that. And not only that, but if we go back to the settings, there's a few interesting things that Chrome does not have. You've got no coin, which basically, as the name suggests, blocks websites from using your browser or from using your computer horsepower to mine cryptocurrency, which is really nice. You've got different on startup options, default browsers, you know, all the basic stuff. And you got an Opera account that you can sync with. Google search, you can choose from anything. Network, all the stuff that helps with the news source, stuff like that. Websites. And then there's also, you got options for websites. So do not allow any site to show pop-ups, which is really nice. You can enable a video pop out. So let's say you wanted to search up cat video or whatever you wanted to watch on YouTube. What you can do, which is pretty cool, is pop it out. And now you've got this open window that you can move around, resize. And overall, it's a really helpful feature for multitasking, especially if you're like me who watches videos that I'm interested in while I have to do work. So I really like this feature. And you can pause it from here. If there is an ad that shows up, you cannot skip it from here. You'd have to go back here and skip the ad. But these little tiny bar ads at the bottom here, they do not appear on the pop-out window. So that's pretty nice. And this does not work with just YouTube. It works with any video streaming service. You've got, the pop-out, location, notifications, microphone, camera, background. Okay, and then privacy and security. Block ads, built-in ad blocker, really nice. Um, all of this stuff here, you can read this. You can pause the video and read this if you'd like. But I personally spent the most time with Opera. Ever since I switched from Chrome, I've loved it. I've tried Firefox. I've always felt like it's not quite as fast as I'd like. Opera has a good middle ground because it's Chromium kernel. It's almost as fast as Chrome, but it also has these extras that really add to the experience. So that's Opera. Finally, Vivaldi. This is the browser that I've had the least amount of time with, but because it's, well, let me put it this way. So Opera was started by the same company there. So my bad. Let me restart. So when Opera made the switch to the Chromium kernel, a lot of people felt like, especially, or even the people inside the company, felt like that was not the way the Opera is supposed to go. So they broke off and built Vivaldi, which is, as you can see, pretty similar to Opera. It's got the same sidebar. You can choose whether or not to hide or show the panel. Speed dial, same name even. Bookmarks and history. This news, as far as I can tell, actually, there's not any. There's not really any good way to, per se, edit this first page here. Oh, hey. But, there's not really any way to get rid of these other than just, going in and deleting all of them like that. It's, again, pretty quick. Although, that's kind of expected as of now from all browsers. As you can see, it changes the color of the page based on what website you go to. Like Google keeps it blue, Bing is green, and let's say we go to YouTube. Not surprisingly, it's red. As you can see, if we load this, the progress bar actually shows up inside the search bar, and it tells you how much data it used, which is kind of interesting, but I think it's pretty helpful. You got refresh, home, which is just this again. You got basically the same options as Opera, because like I said, it's same developer, just different kernel. So overall, all of these browsers are really nice, in my opinion. You can't really, in this day and age, you can't really go wrong with anything, except for, like Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. Because these are just, it's undeniably slow. Rather slower than the other ones. And also, they just don't have as many options, and they're kind of funkily made. Especially Edge. I mean, Windows 10 is trying really hard to get people to use Edge, and it's kind of disappointing. Or not really disappointing, but it's kind of, well, this is proving my point, basically. I didn't open up this beforehand. I've never opened up Edge on this computer, except for to download, like, Google Chrome at the very beginning. But it just prompts me with nothing from the beginning page. What's a speed score? And if you go to details, like, it's kind of, it seems a little bit biased. And they're just kind of picking and choosing the benchmark tests that favor them over all the competition. And let's say, go to, literally just search Google Chrome on Edge and Bing, and it'll give you an ad by Microsoft giving why Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge is better than Google Chrome. It really is. I think, in my opinion, I think they just need to let it go. And if they're going to use Edge, they're going to use Edge. And if they're going to use Chrome or Firefox or Opera or Vivaldi or whatever you want to use, they're going to use that. But pushing it onto you and without as much customization or settings that works on, well, it just looks blocky and kind of outdated. And there's not even that great there's not really any options, to be honest. You can't, I mean, you can kind of set it, and it's just slow because it's built to work with Bing and Bing only and Cortana's not even that good. Um, it's just these unsubstantiated claims with these really obscure tests with fancy graphics to hook you. Sorry, that was a rant. But you can't really go wrong. The benchmark scores will probably be around here at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Goodbye.